decide the game. Fourth and goal. Trey. And they're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
It's crazy to think how different the NFL was just 5 years ago. I mean, look at these standings compared to this year's. That's just absolutely insane. 5 years ago, Carson Wentz was playing like an MVP. The Browns were the worst team in the NFL, and the Jacksonville Jaguars were in the conference championship game. This is the 2017 season. The preseason odds had the New England Patriots as favorites to repeat as Super Bowl champions. Some of the top headlines going into the season included whether the Falcons were going to be able to bounce back from their brutal Super Bowl loss, or if the Dallas Cowboys are able to continue their success that they started last season. Going into the first few weeks of the season, it was time to see which teams were pretenders or contenders.
Go. From the 21 now. Hand off to West. Wow. And West breaks free into the end zone. He goes. Play action. Bortles to Bow-headed. Touchdown. But they're capable. Bradford throws to the goal line. Touchdown. Kyle Rudolph. Second time, and it is no good. Hand it off here. Backpedaling his way. Touchdown. Carr moving pocket. Throws to a spot. Caught by Crabtree. London kick Bellamy. And here's Clay. And it's intercepted by Robert McLean, the nickelback. And he gets in for the score. Taylor going deep. Oh, and he's got his receiver. And it's dropped by the rookie Jones.
Okay, let me break down what just happened. Imagine being a rookie running back, fumbling on your first ever carry, and then going out and having over 240 total yards and 3 touchdowns. This is exactly what Kareem Hunt did in his debut. Week 1 is actually pretty normal for the most part until Sunday Night Football. Kareem Hunt had a crazy game against the New England Patriots, and they ended up winning on Sunday Night Football. Absolutely ridiculous. To quickly recap Week 2, the Broncos demolished the Cowboys, the Buccaneers destroyed the Bears, and Zay Jones dropped the game-winning touchdown against the Carolina Panthers. I want you guys to get ready for Weeks 3 and 4 because these weeks were pretty insane.
It's left. Brady, pump. Brady rifles to the corner. Oh, it's caught. Touchdown. Brandon Cooks. Here's Fournette. He's got a big hole on the left side. Gets away from Mosley. And a touchdown for Fournette. First and goal from the 8. Elliott. A little hesitation and a touchdown. All right, Hoyer. Deep shot. Trying to stay alive in this game. And hauled in by Garcon at the 5. Pharaoh Cooper will bring this one out. Cooper lost the football. 49ers have it.
I'm just going to take a shot. Ram it in there.
With Hyde. Got in. Touchdown, San Francisco. You have left if you don't convert. Hoyer for the tie. It's in the air, and it's caught by Brockers, who can run with it and score, but just hold on to the ball.
Looking like onside kick here.
And here you go. High bounce off our 49ers helmet, and Mostert has it at the 47-yard line. 5 receivers out there. Hoyer can't get the play off. Aaron Donald with the big one for the Rams. It is good, and Carolina gets a road win in New England. For Catanzaro to send the Jets to 2-2, and he drills it. From the Giants 32. Winston can't find anyone. And now it's Evans. Mike Evans, what a catch. 34 yards out for the win. Oh, it is good. Just inside.
Oh my god, what a span of 2 weeks. In week 3 we saw the New England Patriots take a win against the Houston Texans, but then in week 4 they would take an L to the Carolina Panthers. There were a lot of crazy games during this span, but honestly my favorite was the 49ers-Rams game, one of the best games of the year. Came down to the wire, but the Rams ended up holding on. At this point in the season, the two main stories, the top 2 picks from 2016 struggled in their rookie years, but so far in 2017, they have been playing pretty well. That is Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. Both of them would end up having very successful seasons, but they got off to some really good starts. Although there were a lot of game-winning field goals, there were also a lot of blowouts. So far this season has really been a mix of everything. However, we still really haven't figured out who our real contenders are. So why don't we figure that out?
This one floated in the end zone, broken up. Devontae Adams with Jordan Lewis again there and try to get something into the end zone. That's another rookie. Xavier Woods. This one, Adams, touchdown!
Hill is back to accept it. 18-yard line. Avoids the first guy. It's around the corner. Down the sideline he goes with blocking. Inside the 30, Tyreek Hill. Sooner or later, he'll pull this off.
There's that fake and another touchdown. 4th of the night thrown by Wentz. This one to Nelson Aguilar.
Tackle left early.
Ball batted into the air and it's intercepted by Byron Jones, and he's in for a touchdown to put this one on ice for the Cowboys.
Ball's in the backfield. Wilson, caught, touchdown! Graham!
So far this season has been absolutely insane. We're finally at mid-season, so let's take a look at some teams' records. So we have the New England Patriots and Buffalo Bills sitting atop the AFC East. Both teams look pretty good in 2017, but the Patriots seem to be the far and away best team in the AFC East and Super Bowl contenders. The Steelers in 2017 were really, really good. This was one of Antonio Brown's last seasons in Pittsburgh. But the biggest storyline about the North was the fact that the Cleveland Browns had a legitimate chance to go 0-16. And of course, we all know what ended up happening there. Anyway, the AFC South was pretty close. The Titans and Jaguars were neck and neck for the top spot. The Jaguars were led by their amazing rushing attack with Leonard Fournette and their amazing defense. In the AFC West, the Chiefs were led by Kareem Hunt, and at the time, Alex Smith was their quarterback. Kareem Hunt had made a serious case for Rookie of the Year, and he was setting records as a rookie running back. Moving on to the NFC. The NFC East had a pretty dominant team. The Philadelphia Eagles had the best record in the NFL at 7-1. The Dallas Cowboys were close behind at 4-3, but people were expecting better after a spectacular 2016 season. If you guys remember, 2017 was the year of Case Keenum. He was one of the biggest surprises in 2017, and at midseason, he had the Vikings sitting at 6-2. The Packers were pretty close behind as well. In the NFC West, the Seahawks and the Rams were both looking pretty good, but the Cardinals and the 49ers, on the other hand, were both not even close to playoff contenders. The NFC South had 3 teams that could possibly win the division: the Saints, Carolina Panthers, and the Atlanta Falcons. In last place, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jameis Winston was their starting quarterback, and although there were a lot of flashy plays from the Bucs, overall they just were not ready to compete yet.
Zone. Alex needs to watch. There it is to Hill. The whole brigade around him. Hill gets around Steele. Look at Hill go! Impossible! Touchdown, Kansas City! They by the way every week too, so you never know. Here they're going to go again. Oh, but it's Cooks! Cooks! The 1-year touchdown, New England!
Gets ready to snap it. Boswell's kick is good to win the game.
For Jimmy Graham, if they would like.
And we'll Russell's going to throw wide open. McKissick for the score. 26-yard attempt to give Pittsburgh the lead.
Clutch.
Again.
Able to shake it off. Quick into the down. Got to get to the sideline. He's in play. Here he goes. Third down play. Fakes the spike. Still has it. Now fires. And it's intercepted. It's intercepted to save the game by Harmon. And the Patriots are going to win it.
Yeah, I wasn't lying when I said that this season was crazy. Especially those last few weeks. There were so many insane plays that I couldn't fit all of them into this video. Alright, let's take a look at the standings from 2017, the final standings. So the Patriots won the AFC East as expected, however the Bills surprisingly sneaked into the playoffs. Out in the AFC North, the Steelers were spectacular, but the biggest story from the AFC North was the fact that the Cleveland Browns went 0-16. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you guys this.
Backfield, Kaiser under pressure, somehow escapes. Kaiser's pass is incomplete.
I'm sorry, Browns fans. I mean, you guys lost to the backups of the Pittsburgh Steelers, so I mean, I can't really say much else. But hey, at least you're destined for a good year in 2022 with Deshaun Watson. But anyways, back to 2017. In the AFC South, the pleasant surprise of the season, the Saxonville Jaguars. Yes, the Saxonville Jaguars back in 2017. That's what they were known as. Leonard Fournette carried the offense, and that defense was insane back when Jalen Ramsey was on it. And yeah, there's a reason they were called Saxonville. The Titans also ended up sneaking into the playoffs. And in the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs did end up winning the division. Switching over to the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles, best record in the league at 13-3, or tied for the best record in the league. But it was pretty clear to people that they were the best team in the league. Carson Wentz went down with an injury late in the season. Nick Foles had to take over, but they were still pretty good. Even with this amazing season, because Carson Wentz went down with the injury, they were still considered underdogs going into the playoffs. The Cowboys disappointingly missed the playoffs. In the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings won their division. Surprisingly, Case Keenum played really well for the Vikings and led them to the division title. In the NFC South, we saw 3 teams make the playoffs, the Saints winning the division, the Panthers and Falcons also making the playoffs. The LA Rams won the NFC West. Alright, it's time for the moment you guys have all been waiting for. One of the most legendary playoffs in NFL history, the 2017 playoffs. First game of the wildcard round, the Jacksonville Jaguars defeated the Buffalo Bills with a final score of 10-3. This was the game-winning touchdown for the Jags. Saints would end up going against the Carolina Panthers. They would end up winning as well. Most of these games were pretty close. Thomas had this big catch to set them up to win. The Falcons would end up beating a loaded Rams team with Todd Gurley. Julio Jones and Devontae Freeman ended up having big games for the Falcons. Mariota and the Titans ended up having a huge comeback against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they would win. We are at the divisional round of the playoffs, so I'm not going to lie, the other 3 games were a lot more interesting than this one, so let's just get this out of the way. Tom Brady and the Patriots came to play and ended up winning this one by a lot. The Titans were coming off of a great comeback against the Chiefs, but they just were not enough for the Patriots. Danny Amendola had a huge game. That's a name I have not heard in a while, but the Patriots would end up winning this one. Everybody had the Steelers winning against the Jaguars. Just seemed like they were simply a better team. But the Jaguars came to play, led by Leonard Fournette having over 100 yards. They would end up finding a way to win this game. The entire season, the story about the Jaguars was their defense, but in this one their offense came to play. The Steelers obviously had a good game. Roethlisberger with 5 touchdowns, Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown back when they were still on the Steelers, but it was just not enough for the Jaguars, and they were going to move on to the AFC Championship. For these last 2 games, I don't think much has to be said. I'm just going to let the games speak for themselves.
Ryan rolled into the right. Ryan in trouble. floats one into the end zone with a prayer, incomplete.
Tatum steps into it. Pass is caught. Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Vikings win it!
Stepping up and throwing, and it is knocked down by Gilmore.
On third down and goal, Foles surveys, fires, touchdown Alshon Jeffrey.
They're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown. Brady gets hit, the ball is out, and Philadelphia has it. Derek Barnett comes away with it.
Wow, what a season. To end like that, I mean, that was the best way to end a crazy season. And 5 years ago, the NFL was truly amazing. Before I wrap up this video, if you guys quickly want to see the awards, Tom Brady won MVP. That was an award that easily would have gone to Carson Wentz if he didn't get injured, but we all know how that ended. Coach of the Year, Sean McVay. Comeback Player of the Year, Keenan Allen. Offensive Player of the Year, Todd Gurley. Man, I really do miss him. AP Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Alvin Kamara. And Defensive Rookie of the Year, Marshawn Lattimore. Before I end this video, I want to show you guys my top 2 favorite plays from this season.
Oh, and it's caught! Yo, right round inside the 20, and he's in for the touchdown off the ricochet.
The pressure put on Wentz. They almost get it from behind. Slings it deep downfield, and it's caught by Aguilar.
This is unbelievable. Watch this throw